Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the shooting bench. This video is going to be, as you're going to be able to tell by the title, or should be able to tell by the title, first-time gun owner slash AR-15 owner. With this whole pandemic going on and the rash rush on firearms purchases, a lot of these people, and a lot of you people watching, probably have never thought you'd need a gun or a firearm to protect yourself or your family or whatever your reason is for buying. Or B, my personal favorite, persons that actively voted to take gun rights away, or for people who were pro taking gun rights away. First off and foremost, welcome to the fold. Now you understand why it is so important that our God-given rights remain protected and are accessible throughout this trying time we call a country. Make no doubt about it. You might get through this pandemic and not need your firearm. Hopefully, God willing, nobody needs to use their firearm. However, some of you, statistically speaking, who have bought a firearm are going to need to use that firearm. And if that was an AR-15, I will do more pistols coming through here in the next day or two. But today we're going to cover the basics of the AR-15. I have bolt carrier group breakdowns, so we'll forego that and I will just show you guys how to clean everything. First and foremost, this is an AR-15 pistol. It has a SB-A3 tactical brace on it, which is a pistol brace, so you can shoot it mounted to the forearm. We're going to go butt to muzzle here so everybody understands what it is they bought for the basics. Now, this is on a normal gun. This would be called a stock. It is adjustable, telescoping, collapsible brace in this case, but on a rifle, you would have what's called a stock. This is called your buffer tube. This is called your castle nut. This is called your locking plate, or lanyard plate, some people call it, because you can put your slings on there, but that is what it is. Everybody's got their own different terms. Now, the gun is two different pieces, and this is your actual registered firearm, what's called the lower. On your lower, you have your safety selector switch, which is right here. Unfortunately, unless you have a fully automatic firearm, which was produced before, I believe, 1986, you only get two positions. Mine shows three, but it only goes to safe and fire. That's your safety switch. Continuing forward, you have your takedown pins, which this is your rear takedown pin, and this is your front locking pin. This is what hinges the upper to the lower. You have your magazine release here. Magazine release. While we're on that, we're going to make sure we are free and clear, which we are. There's no ammunition in the magazine. Above your magazine release, you have your dust cover, which is designed to keep dust out of the bolt carrier group system. You have your forward assist, which literally, in case your gun is not in battery, you can push it into battery with that. Brass deflector. On your upper, you have your charging handle, an optic of sorts, which comes down here to your handguard or your rail system. This is a Picatinny rail system up top with a key mod mount on the side, 6, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions. We have a light for home defense, which I need to replace the batteries in this. That's kind of what inspired me to do this. This light is 300 lumen light. It is good for indoor use. Helps you see at night in case you got to defend yourself in the night. And this gun, in this case, is equipped with a Silencer Co. Hybrid 46 suppressor. Very much so mandated for in-home shooting. Anyhow, coming back here, we do have a Magpul grip, pistol grip, and your bang switch, the trigger. I'm going to move over to my vice block, and I'm going to show you how to take down and clean your AR-15, as this gun does need to get cleaned because I've been shooting it suppressed. Well, it's not as dirty as I thought. However, it still needs to get cleaned. But before we move over to the vice block and everything, I will show you some of the products that I use to clean my guns. Not endorsing anything, nothing as a brand recommendation. It's just all personal preference. So what I use is, first and foremost, you always want to have a good set of brushes. I've got a copper, a plastic, brass, and copper bristle brushes. Those are really good for scrubbing carbon off. I use the brass one the most. Now for cleaners, believe it or not, good old Windex. It's ammonia based, so you want to get it out of your, if you spray it down your barrel, you want to scrub it real well and get as much of it out of the bore as fast as possible. I chase the Windex with gun scrubber. Gun scrubber is just basically brake parts cleaner. So if you have brake parts cleaner on hand, you're good to go. Spray this down the bore. After you do that, scrub it some more and then run patches through it till they come out dry. For lubrication, we got some Hops gun grease. It's kind of like white lithium grease. It's got some more protectants in it, some more lubricants in it to help with aiding in anti-wear against the slide and the slide rails and whatever you lube up with that. Remington gun oil, this is the pump. They do make it in a dropper bottle like this. They make it in a spray can like this. But this is just the pump one that I personally use. And then this is not Lucas gun oil, although you can get Lucas gun oil. This is, believe it or not, 10W30 liquid moly for my 2012 turbo diesel Jetta wagon. If it's good enough to run 5,000 miles in a turbocharged diesel engine, it is good enough to shoot with. So next thing up you're going to want to get is a caliber specific snake. This one is a Remington brand snake. And, excuse me, this is a Bore Snake brand. Bore Snake. And as you can see here, it is Bore Snake and it is labeled caliber 22. This is good for 22 long rifle, 22 short, 22, 223, 556, 224 Valkyrie, basically anything in the 22 caliber. This is going to be good enough for, because a lot of people don't realize most weapons that are chambered in a 22 caliber, your bore and bullet diameter size is going to be .224. Make no mistake about it, if you go ahead and mic a 22 long rifle and then you go and mic a 224 Valkyrie, you're going to come within 100,000th of each other as far as bullet diameter size goes. So they're all basically identical. Once you get into the 25 caliber and so on and so forth, then you can still use this in a 25 caliber, but it's going to be really loose and it's not going to clean as well. So these are the products that I use. I also, for AR15 use, you go on Brownells, you can get a chamber brush. This chamber brush, it's a star brush, and I'll show you the specific purpose for it when we break the upper down and so on and so forth. So let me get set up to break the gun down and start cleaning, and I will move the camera over and we will be back momentarily. Okay, so we are back. Now, you don't need to see the entire gun for this process, because a lot of you guys just got sold an AR-15, or some of you went and picked up your AR-15 rifle or pistol, and they all break down the same. So I'm going to show you how to separate the upper and the lower at this point for cleaning purposes. It is not hard. So you're going to come through here, this pin right here on the back side, you're going to push it forward. If it won't go, get your screwdriver, a punch, a set of pliers, something that will fit on the front side of that pin. You push the pin out. Alright, so it will now hinge open like this. Make sure you catch it. Don't let it slam into your vise or whatever you're using to hold it. And there you go. And the next thing is you're going to want to take a little pressure off of the actual upper for the front takedown pin / locking pin, and you're just going to push it through. And that's how the upper and the lower separate. So you can see all the components in here. Don't be afraid to pull this out, because this is actually meant to come out. You can see all the components, charging handle, so on and so forth. So we're going to pull the bolt out, and then simultaneously you're going to pull the bolt handle out. We're going to set everything off to the side. We're going to take a look at your lower so you can understand what it is that you have bought. Moving in here, All right. So in here we have your lower, which is all of your components. So in your buffer tube, you have a buffer, which I will pull out to show you because that's filthy. I can just feel the filth on it. So to remove your buffer, now you don't have to clean this every time, but it doesn't hurt to clean it every now and again. And you can tell it's been a minute since I cleaned mine because mine's frozen in place. All right. Right. And that's what happens when you don't do it correctly. So your buffer will just fly right out. So this is your buffer right here. This part is your buffer. And it does separate from the spring, I assure you. This is the buffer. Mine's a little bit heavier of a buffer because this is a purpose-built gun. And this is one very dirty buffer spring. Now, like I said, you don't have to clean that every time, but it doesn't hurt to clean it every now and again. So, coming back from your buffer tube and buffer with buffer spring, this is your buffer retaining detent. As you see me tap it, and everything came flying out. Come forward to this, takedown pins, safety, your trigger hammer with trigger sear in there. This is the sear catch. This is your hammer. Coming forward, this is your magazine release. This is what catches your magazine, locks it in place, also releases your magazine. This piece right here is also the piece that gets lifted up on the follower on your last shot. Hold open. So this is what locks your buffer to the rear. And then coming forward, you get your magazine well, magazine release, external actual magazine release. And this is I call this a magazine release. It's not. This is your bolt catch and bolt catch release. And then coming forward up here is your forward takedown pin. So we're going to pause this here and move back to the bench, and I'm going to show you how to clean your AR15 upper properly. Okay, so here we are. I've broke down my bolt carrier group, which for YouTube algorithm usage violation rules purposes, I'm not allowed to show you how I broke that down in combination with taking the actual upper off the lower, because that could be construed as showing you how to construct a firearm. I'm sorry, I don't make these rules, unfortunately. So I do, however, have videos on how to clean your bolt carrier group posted in my YouTube videos. So if you want to go find one of those, they're pretty in-depth and pretty thorough. So what we have here is a stripped upper receiver, well, a barreled upper receiver of its components. So you have the charging handle, you have your firing pin retaining pin, you have the firing pin itself, also known as a cotter pin, by the way. This is your camming pin. This is what actually causes your action to work. This is your extractor claw retaining pin right here. This is your extractor claw. This is your bolt face, or bolt, some people will call it, for an AR. The correct term is bolt face. And this is your bolt carrier. And the whole thing, when it's assembled, is called a bolt carrier group, just so you know what you're talking about. This is, like I said, your charging handle. I forgot to lay out some rags. Oh, no, go right here. So you're going to want to use rags cut up for bore swabs or just general cleaning purposes. I have a old shirt here, and we're going to start off with cleaning the buffer spring and the buffer. So how do you do that? A lot of people are like, it's involved. It's not. Literally take some glass cleaner or your preferred cleaner of choice, spray it on there, let it sit for a minute. Same thing with the spring. Get the spring pretty good. Let it sit for a minute. You don't really need to scrub these parts, but this one has a serious amount of carbon buildup on it, like horrifically bad amount, because this gun gets shot suppressed. And then you literally just wipe your bolt, or your wipe your buffer weight clean. Same thing with the spring. Just take the spring, wrap it up in here, wipe the whole thing down. It's not hard. Some people will tell you you need to clean your buffer tube. I'm one of those people that will tell you you should clean your buffer tube on your lower out after you've extracted this stuff, because you're cleaning it, you might as well clean it all the way. However, it's not a necessary thing. Basically, if you just were to lubricate this, which you're going to lubricate the spring and the buffer, you can put it back in without an issue. Alright, we're going to set that aside. So we're now going to clean the bolt carrier and charging handle. We're going to start off with the charging handle here. Charging handle, like your buffer tube systems, just spray some cleaner on it. Let it get in there real good. I like to use a toothbrush for this, but I've misplaced my toothbrush. If you're going to use a toothbrush, I suggest getting one of the ones with the little rubber teeth in the bristle, using it for about 2 to 3 months, and then getting a new one. No sense in buying a brand new toothbrush for cleaning gun purposes. Q-tips come in handy here as well. So what we did was we sprayed it down, put the brush on the rag so I didn't scrape up my interior anodized finishing, and then I literally just went in and cleaned it. Now, I don't have any Q-tips on hand, so I will make my rag work as best as possible. And this is one of the high wear pieces. This is your charging handle. And you just wipe it clean and call it good. You can see the wear and tear on it, and you can see this. These parts are long-term consumable parts. Eventually they'll wear out, break, and need to buy new ones, just so you know. We're going to move on to our bolt. In fact, you know what? I'm going to bypass the whole bolt carrier assembly for cleaning. All you really need to know is you're going to clean the outside. Spray some in there to help break up carbon. And then I'm just going to wipe all the carbon off of this bolt carrier group. Some people will be like extremely anal about how well they clean things. The way I look at it, as long as 90% of the carbon is off your gun and the gun functions, it will run reliably. AR15s are one of the most reliable firearm systems on the planet. Will continue to be so because they are simple and they work. That's why the AK works so well, because it's simple. You're going to then take your bolt face, spray cleaner on that. I think I already cleaned this last time I used it. Then you're going to, all your carbon builds up right around here, around this piece right here. So you're just going to take this, and you're going to scrub this down with a brush. Steel brushes are okay to use on this. They will screw your finish up, but they won't screw the base metal up, because most bolt carrier groups are made out of a tool steel or a very hard steel if it's not a tool steel. You're going to clean this groove in here. And then you're going to inspect your gas rings, which these are your gas rings. Just make sure they're intact, all in one piece, and aren't broken, because that's what controls the timing of your firearm. In layman's terms, that's what helps your gun cycle the next round into the chamber. It times the gun. That's advanced stuff. We don't need to go into here right now. This is your extractor claw. Literally, it's got, I sprayed it with cleaner. Just make sure you clean out this groove here. Your fingernail usually will suffice. You just get in there, make sure the gunk is out of it, and then wipe it clean. Nothing overly fantastic. Your firing pin should be nickel boron coated, or should be a treated stainless steel, and it literally should be a wipe clean issue. You come down here. This is what you really want to clean on your firing pin. This is your shoulder. As long as that's clean, very clean. Most folks will tell you, especially in the military. So if you're watching this and you're in the military, I'm not cleaning it to, I need to turn this in for inspection standards. I'm cleaning this to civilian standards to keep their gun functional. So be nice in the comments. However, if you do want to get hardcore on the cleaning, this gun just gets beat up, so I really don't care. And I have a million firing pins. Take your wire brush and scrub your shoulder clean. Make sure you get all that off. If you really want to get super sexy with it, take some of your gun scrubber or your brake clean and spray it on there. This stuff will pretty much dissolve carbon immediately. Brake cleaner will do the same thing. It's a little harsher on your skin, so use that information like you want or how you want. So then this is your camming lug. This is the next piece right here we're going to clean. This just needs a good general wipe down, and then you can either put oil or grease on that. Same thing with the camming pin. I have a nickel boron or a extractor claw pin. I have a nickel boron coated one, so it is a wipe clean issue or wipe clean part. And this is your cotter pin, which holds your firing pin in, and you can just wipe that clean. You don't really need to scrub that. So then after you're done cleaning all of your bolt carrier group parts, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take oil, rim oil, or motor oil, or your Lucas oil, or whatever you got. And I'm going to show you how to lubricate all these parts. You're going to be surprised how little oil you actually need. This is actually considered a dry system firearm, which means this component in here is meant to be relatively dry, but a nice thinner lubrication never hurt. So what I do is I just take some oil on my finger, just like that, and then thin coat on all your parts. So on your bolt carrier, all the way up to your bearing line, this is your bearing surface. This is what your wear surface is. Lubricate that. Your cam lug, you're going to lubricate this right here. Now you don't have to lubricate the firing pin. It's just a habit I've done since my time in. And then your extractor, which you're going to want to lubricate the top of it here, and then your side plates here and here. And you can also lubricate your extractor claw retaining pin. And then on your actual bolt carrier, these surfaces here, up here, you're going to want to put oil here and here. I mean, nothing wrong with putting a thin coat on the whole thing. It's not going to hurt anything. By thin coat, I mean, you can see how it just looks like there's oil on it, barely. And then underneath here, you're going to want to throw some oil in here and on here. In fact, I'm just going to put a skosh more on my finger. And you're going to get into these grooves right here and here. You're going to want to rub oil in there. And you can rub oil on the whole thing. It's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. Not going to hurt nothing. Your charging handle, any spot you see wear, silver showing, is a good spot to put oil. I generally just nice thin coat on the whole thing. Helps it function and operate better, just general operation. Then you do your bolt carrier, I keep calling it bolt carrier, I'm sorry, your buffer weight. You can put a little bit of oil on that. It never hurt nothing. Everybody thinks that you need to put a ton of oil on it. Literally around the seating face here, and a nice light coat on the body itself to lubricate the spring. Now to do the spring, what I do is I just literally take the oil that's left over in my hands and I wipe it down the spring. This is a dry function part, and that is how you clean all the components to your upper. Now we're going to clean the upper and the barrel itself, which I'm going to pause, reassemble all this, reinsert this back into the gun, and I'll be back with you momentarily. Alright, so we're back. I have reassembled my bolt carrier group, and I have put my buffer spring and buffer back in the buffer tube. Now we're going to talk about how to clean your barrel. This barrel is a 10.5 inch barrel. It has absolutely no difference between an 8-inch barrel, a 4-inch barrel, a 10.5-inch barrel, a 13-inch barrel, or a 24-inch barrel. None of them matter. They are all the same. They are metal tubes with rifling in them that need to be cleaned. On an AR15, and this is going to be hard to show because, you know, reasons. Let me see if I can get this focused here. There we go. No, we're still going to be stupid about it. Okay, so in here, there's something called a star chamber. And the star chamber, seeing as this doesn't want to focus, looks a lot like your bolt face. This is your bolt face. See these lugs? These lugs, there's the same pattern cut on the barrel extension to the front of your barrel. So this piece looks like you can kind of see it in there, maybe? Yeah, there you go. You can see it in there now. All right, that is what's called a star chamber, people call it. It is actually, your star chamber is not part of your barrel, it's part of the barrel extension. Needless to say, whatever you're going to call it, your chamber, your star chamber, whatever, you probably want to get one of these. This is a steel down here and brass brush, and it is a chamber brush for an AR15. Now, how are you going to use this? You are going to simply take your cleaner, which I like to use glass cleaner, spray it in there, let it foam up, let it run down there a second, be totally fine. Once it starts running out the bottom of the barrel, you're good. You take this wonderful little tool here, which you can get at Brownells or on Amazon or wherever you want to shop. Brownells.com, very good place to get stuff. And all you do is you're going to take this and you're going to insert it through here just like this. And it's going to then come, it is then going to come into the chamber, which is right here. You're going to push it down till it seats. You're going to feel a good amount of resistance. Oh, blocking it. So you're going to push it down till it seats. You're going to feel a very good amount of resistance. And that will be absolutely 100% just fine. And then you're going to take your handle up here, this thing, your handle. And then you're just going to start turning it. Let me zoom in correctly. You're going to start turning it and pushing down till it goes all the way into that chamber. And you can see how far it's going. Alright, now you got the general idea how to use a star brush or a chamber brush or whatever you want to call it. I like to do, while it's in there, take you some gun part scrubber or brake clean and spray it in your chamber and just turn it while it's going. And then to pull it out, you just simply extract it. It's going to be a hard pull. It's not going to be easy to extract, but it's not going to be overly hard to extract. It's just how it is. So then what you want to do, take your rag. Let me bring this all back down in here to focus. Take your rag and spray some cleaner in here. You got your cleaner sprayed in here. Just take a brush, run your brush along the sides, like so. Break up some of the carbon on the inside. Scrub it down. Then you'll take your rag and just get in there with your finger and wipe it out as best as you can. Now, after you do this, there's no need to spray oil in here. You don't have to go that far with it. It's just how these guns work. However, cleaning out this channel down in here, this channel in the very back where your charging handle rides, wiping that out is a very good idea. We'll call that good. Apparently I forgot that I cleaned this weapon after the last time I used it. And that is how you clean the actual upper receiver and your chamber. Now you can get in here with a rag or some other tool, such as you can get in there with a Q-tip, or a punch and a rag works well too. But the main thing is this chamber brush will scrub everything clean. Now, how to clean the actual barrel. So if we look down the barrel, which I can't do on camera, but you're going to take my word for it, it's kind of dirty. That's what happens when you shoot guns. They get dirty. So for your next piece of equipment, you'll need one of two things. Again, I'm not telling you to go buy anything. You can use this Southbury, Connecticut cleaning rod. It's pretty long. It'll do, I think, all the way up to a 32-inch barrel. Comes with threads on there. They sell their own tools, adapters, brushes, scrubbers, whatever. Or you can get a standard spinny T-handle with an adapter end on it like you would normally. Having a nice solid black oxide steel scrubbing brush is best, but an aluminum or brass one will work. Stainless steel will work as well. I would say stainless steel or the black oxide steel would be the best. So how do you do this? I'm going to show you the fast and easy way to do it. You're going to spray some gun scrubber, brake cleaner, whatever you want. You're then going to insert the brush down, push forward. Now the old timers will tell you, take this brush off, extract this out, and then be fine. Modern barrels are not that finicky. The steel is much harder than it was back in the day, and they've been treated much better, so you can do a reverse stroke. I say do this 5 to 6 times. I'll call that good. Take your barrel scrubbing spray it back down there. Now, if I was going for, like I do on my competition rifles, you want to take rags, take a rag, cut it up into a little piece, or if you have already purchased or already have barrel rags, cleaning rags, swabs, whatever you want to call them, they look like this. They're about 2 inches by 2 inches. You can cut them in half, and then you can take a cleaning jag and shove it down the barrel until it comes out clean, like as clean as it was when you put it in. That is over